Hey, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Hey, good morning to you guys. Hey, I thought I'd come up with a fun topic to talk about today. And as you can read the slide here, yes, this is going to be dealing a little bit with finances, but it's going to be also talking about relationships. So, my topic is, or what I want to know is why do women like bad men financially? Women, you can feel free to like and subscribe my channel or pass this along because I think this is going to be interesting. Now, let me first say before I get started, this is not my opinion. This is just some questions as a male I asked myself when I was younger because I wanted to understand women. Now, I can tell you I've been married for 30 years and I don't quite understand my wife every day. Probably I don't understand her most of the time. But what I do understand is that I gotta listen, right? So men, take this with a grain of salt. Women, I'm not picking on you, but this is going to be an interesting conversation. So, why do women like bad men financially? Okay, so what do you think we should be doing, men? Well, let's talk about this. What do women really want? What they want us to do is they want us to listen to them. As you can see, these three women with listen to women on their arms. If you're not really focused on that, this is what it's saying. It's saying, hey, listen to me. So the idea that women are more attracted to bad men, especially financially, is a stereotype and not universally true. People are attracted to different qualities in others for a variety of reasons, and financial status is just one factor of among many. Obviously, the other one would be how that person looks, what they wear, what they drive. When you're younger, you're more shallow. As you get older, it's a little more than stuff, right? So, with that said, let's look at the top answers. Well, I'm not ready to give them to you yet, but TV kind of tells you how society thinks about this topic. And since most people are really focused on TV, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone. Someone's leaving me a message at this point, and I apologize. I didn't put it on silent before I started recording. However, there are some theories as to why this stereotype exists. Now, being 53 years young, and I am young, um, and having been around the world and met a lot of different people, especially women, I think this might be one of the things that maybe women like. I don't know. We probably need some women to respond to this YouTube channel and kind of give us their ideas in the comments. But perceived confidence. See, bad boys often portray as confident and assertive, which can be attractive traits to a lot of women. This confidence may be mistaken for financial stability or success. See, here's the thing. When you go out and meet somebody, ladies, and those people that are still in the dating scene, you can say yay or nay. The first thing that you get to know about the person is maybe where you met them at, the venue, right? So if you met them at a lounge or you met them at a social function or office function or the church or wherever you met that person at, you struck a conversation up with them, and through that conversation, you perceived they had a level of confidence. And in most cases, confidence does breed competence, right? So, not necessarily financial competence, but competence. So, with that said, if perceived confidence is one of the things that women are actually looking for, if you're a man or if I'm teaching my sons, hey, what you want to do is you want to hold your head up high, you want to carry yourself in a light that people see you as a respectable young man or they see you as an individual of good character. Those things might be good to start telling your sons or just telling your children in general, daughters included, right? So what do I mean about this? Because a lot of times people are looking for this. They're looking for excitement and thrill. Like they are really looking for somebody that really excites them. So some women may be drawn to the excitement and the thrill of being with someone who is rebellious and unconventional, which can be associated with being a bad boy. Bad boys. What you gonna do? Remember that song? But the point is that people don't like dullness. They like people who are confident in themselves and they have some type of excitement or thrill, right? Um, I don't know, ladies. Please let me know. I really want you to like and subscribe and tell me how you feel about this topic because it really is one of those things that men go, hmm. So, with that said, let's talk about the cultural influences. Now, what do I mean by cultural influences? Everybody is on social media. But prior to social media, how do we find out about bad boys? We found through media, popular culture, as far as often romanticizes the idea of the bad boy. So we saw it in movies, soap operas. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I'd watch all all the days of my lives or whatever it was, as the world turned or whatever it was with my grandmother. And the spiciest scenes was the bad boy, right? And so it's that leads the perception that they are the most desirable because of what we've actually allowed to come into our brain housing group, as I like to say. So those people who are movie buffs and those people who are um, soap opera or drama, they tend to like the bad boy, right? And that spills over into how we predict who we may date or talk to financially. Believe it or not, it's true. So we talk about the desires for the change or excitement. So some women, so I've heard, may be attracted to bad boys as a way to break away from the societal norms or to add excitement to their lives. So, growing up as a PK, that's a preacher's kid, um, I was probably not as desirable as, say, somebody who was not in the church, right? Unless you went to church, right? So, I'm just giving an example. That doesn't mean that that's the case because I can tell you as a PK, we are some of the worst kids out there. And if you don't believe me, talk to some. You probably know some that you grew up with that you could probably agree to this topic. So, the question that you really got to ask yourself, men, women, is this deep question. I mean, it's a deep question. It's so deep, it's probably going to make you like, well, why did he ask that? But I'm going to ask it anyway. But why women? But why ladies? Well, it's important to clarify that not all women are attracted to bad men or prioritize specific financial clues in their partners. However, in cases where women are attracted to individuals who may not be the best financial partners, there could be several factors at play. Now let's look at some of those factors. Take a breath, Mike. I'm getting excited over here. So one thing might be perceived wealth. So some women may be attracted to men who flaunt wealth and material possessions, such as expensive cars, clothing, or the bling, the jewelry. This can be a superficial indicator of financial success. But there are some of you that doesn't matter to. What you are looking for is a man with a good heart. And if he got a little bad streak in him, that's good too. So, with that said, what are we really looking for, women? Survey says confidence and charisma. Now, wait a minute, Mike. Men who exude confidence and charisma can be attractive. Even their financial situation may not be stable. These traits can create an impression of success and power. Now, why do I say that? Most people like the fact of dating someone who has a sense of power. So let me explain. I once had somebody ask me about my daughter, and they said, what if your daughter brought home somebody that was a garbage man? And now, For those of you that don't know, my daughter's gone through college, got her master's degree, out on her own doing her thing. She's a baller, making it happen, right? Her mother and I taught her well. So I said, well, it depends on what his abilities are. See, a lot of women, you date people based off of potential because they may not be where they need to be. My daughter and I had a conversation about this a while ago, and we were talking about she's 25, and she was saying that the guys that were at her age level just didn't have it together. And she was like, Dad, you and Mom spoiled me because you told me I needed to do certain things while I was in college and I was preparing before I got out. And now none of the people my age, she was like, if they got a car or if they got a house, it's rare. They don't have themselves together financially. And for a woman who's working towards that and has gotten herself to some form of financial stability, it's hard to go backwards. And women, if I'm lying, tell me the truth. In the comments, is it hard for you to step down and pull somebody up if you don't see potential in them? That's really the question. Because going back to the question, if he was a garbage man, well, if he was the garbage man, guess what? If he was the garbage man and he happened to love my daughter and cared for her, and then he decided that, hey, Mr. Barnes, I want to go after this government contract, and I could basically provide services to the government, and I want to start my company and I want to do this, then he's a garbage man with a business. So guess what? I don't care. As long as he loves my daughter and takes care of her, that's perfectly fine with me, right? So what I'm saying is don't judge a book by its cover, because I've seen some of the best looking books have a whole bunch of trash in it, baby. Now, let's talk about this here, because some of y'all like that risk taker behavior. You love it. You're excited about it. See, some women may be drawn to men who take risk. The greater the risk, the greater reward. The lower the risk, the lower the reward. Whether in their careers or personal lives, risk-taking behavior can be seen as adventurous or exciting. So when we're talking about risk, how many of you are really ready to take a risk? Most of you want security. And in that is risk. Because when you secure yourself, I'm sorry, I'm going to take a gulp of tea here. When you secure your future based off of your financial ability, you're saying that I am no better than where I'm at right now. So for you people that are debating on starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur, stepping out and getting a side hustle when you have your main job, doing more than what others are doing, and you're probably going to be picked on. They may say, man, woman, why are you doing all that? Why don't you just enjoy life and don't worry about making any money? Look, let me explain something to you. I was reading in the Bible today, Proverbs, and I'm looking on my board because I wrote it down. And it basically says, wise people store up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction. Now that's Proverbs 10:14. And then it also said in Proverbs 10:13, wisdom is found on the lips of him who has understanding, but a rod is for the back of him who is devoid of understanding. And then lastly, the last scripture I'm going to read to you. Now you read the whole 10th chapter of Proverbs and you'll find a lot of gems. But it says, Proverbs 10:15 says, the rich man's wealth is the strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. Now, when you listen to some of these scriptures, you need to meditate on whatever your belief is or are. And I'm not trying to convert you. That's something between you and your God. All right. But I will tell you that if you're not willing to take a risk, then that means you don't trust God. I'll say it again. If you're not willing to believe and take risks, you don't trust God, which means you don't trust yourself. Because if you have faith of some form in God, or as some people say, a higher power, then you know that you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you, or through whatever religious belief you're in. Okay, I don't want to go there for some of you people, because you'll be sending me comments. Well, I'm an atheist. Well, that means you believe that there's nothing, and I get it. But I believe that there is a holy God, and that one day we will stand before Him. And wouldn't it be great to know that you were right, then you were wrong? That's all I'm gonna say. Now, next question, because this is what is plaguing our society right now, and it is that social status. Now, men who hold high social status or are well connected in their communities may be seen as desirable partners regardless of their actual financial situation. So, I hate to say this, but I've met a whole bunch of people that were standing in front of people that had no assets and were broke, but they look good and they smell good, right? So be leery of those type of people who are standing before you. That's why you want to find a mentor, a financial advisor, someone that can actually mimic. You can mimic, model, and mentor someone else later based off of what you've been trained. But most of y'all don't think that way, right? You think I'm gonna take, and maybe I'll give something back. Stop thinking that way, because in our relationships, that is what's killing us in our relationships. Everybody's a taker and nobody's a giver, right? So we look at social status, and social status is one of the deadliest things to base a relationship off of. Now, for you people that like the sugar daddy, the sugar mamas, generosity and lavish spending. Men who are overly generous and spend money lavishly may be appealing to some women, as it can be seen as a sign of financial abundance. I can tell you right now, there are some of you, not all of you, but there are some of you that have based some of your past relationships based on what that person could buy for you. Maybe they bought you the Gucci, they bought you the Louis Vuitton, took you on a trip, they flew you, to one of the islands, they wined and dined you at some of the best restaurants, they did all this stuff, and the ultimate thing was, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't, but you were guided based off of what they could do for you. So in finances, we're always talking about, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Well, maybe you're letting them spend their money because you're keeping your money, and maybe that's wisdom on your part. If a person wants to spend their money on you, and that's how they show love or affection, go for it, right? But I want you to think about this for a second. What are you saying when you take said things from them? Maybe it's a game to you. Maybe it's like quid pro. He or she does this, I do that, right? This for that. So think about that financially, right? Especially if you plan on having a partner, a life partner, and no, I'm not talking about Will and Jada, right? A life partner, right? Somebody that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, someone that you're going to eventually marry. I hey, if I would be lying to you if I told you that I was the perfect husband. I would be lying to you if I said that I made all the right decisions when it came to my family. I would be lying to you if I said I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Humility is the best teacher, and time. And I can tell you, being married 30 years, I haven't always been everything to my wife, my partner, right? And that goes without saying, because you can't be everything to everybody. But what you can do is work on yourself. So work on yourself, and then those people will either appreciate and stay with you, or they will adapt and change, or they will leave. But one way or another, it will happen that if you always work on yourself, you can get better. And maybe you don't end up being the person that's very genuine with money. Maybe it's your time, maybe it's your affection. But understand that some women, like that. Now, for my final thoughts, it's important to note that these are generalizations, women and men. Do not apply them to everyone, and it may not apply to all women. Attraction is a complex interplay of individual preferences, experiences, and cultural influences. Additionally, prioritizing these financial clues in a partner does not necessarily indicate a healthy or sustainable approach to relationships. Now, I'm just going to say it like this, guys. If you're dating somebody or you're living with them or um, you want to be serious with someone, get a credit check. See how serious they are about their saving and their spending. If you see this, there's a link right here which will take you to a risk tolerance, which will show you how to actually do your investments. Now, if you decide you want to go further and do financial planning or other stuff, then my other website is there. Send me a question and see how we can help you. But I really want you to take the time to think about your relationships, right? Don't think of them, and this is for men as well as women, whether you're young or old, because some people get divorced and then they're dating in their 50s now or 60s. Um, I want you to start thinking about, what it is you want in a partner financially. We know what the physical aspect is because the physical comes and goes, right? Got to take care of yourself. You got to do what's right, eat right, exercise. I'm going to go to the gym as soon as I finish this up because I didn't go yesterday. I felt bad when I was shooting the last video, but had to get it done. Had clients I had to see and stuff. And sometimes life happens. So with that said, I want you to like and subscribe this video. I want you to pass it on to somebody that it might help. And I ask that you would leave your comments because I really want to know what you think about this topic. Like I'm humbly and sincerely want to know what your thoughts is about why women like bad guys or bad men. And maybe some of what I came up with, maybe you got some better answers. I don't know. But I think as we get older, we need to each one reach one or each one teach one. We want to, whether you're a male teaching a younger male what to look for when finding a mate or a partner financially, the same thing females you would do to a younger female. These are the things that we need to do to make our communities stronger. Okay. So with that said, I thank you for your time. God bless and have a great day. Mike Barnes, the Financial First Responder.